What's up, everyone? How's it going? So recently I have had the pleasure of onboarding not one, but two new marketing clients. So in this video, I just wanted to run you through the process and the way I approach onboarding a new marketing client. In a second here, I'll be sharing my screen showing you some of the resources I prepare to onboard a client. Basically, we'll be reviewing a kickoff call, keynote presentation I create, and then I'll also show you how I structure the deliverables section of the proposals I send for a marketing account. So this way the client has complete transparency. I'm very excited about these clients who have just signed up for the marketing work that I do because, like I always say, the only way clients are going to be able to get the most amount of value from their initial website investment is to also pursue a marketing campaign at the conclusion of the website build in order to increase the amount of traffic coming to the website, generate more leads, and ultimately sign their ideal client. To give you an analogy here, the website is like the car, but then the marketing is like the gas in the tank, as I often like to tell clients. And then also it must be mentioned that as a self-employed freelancer, I love the recurring income, of course. Now, onboarding is super important because you want to show your clients at the start of the project process that you are extremely organized, you're excited to work on their account, and ultimately you know what you're doing. Honestly, your clients already got so much to worry about and they've already got so much work on their own plate that you really don't want to make a bad first impression and then give them something else to worry about and something else to be stressed about. You want to show them that you have what it takes to handle their project from start to finish. And then if you do, they're going to trust you. They're going to basically outsource the worrying to you. And they're going to be like, Bailey here, he's got it under control. They got full confidence in him. So glad we're working with him. That is why it's important to have a strong onboarding process, because in order to get projects off to a good start and continue that positive momentum, you really need to have it together at the start of the project. Lastly, I think one of the easiest ways you can show your client that you mean business is to just wear something nice. So right now I'm wearing a polo shirt. Honestly, it's gonna be like 85 degrees, even though it's September here in Colorado. Otherwise, I would be wearing a collared shirt or a blazer or something of that nature. But especially if you're only doing video calls to clients and all they ever get to see is from the torso up, it is super important to be well-dressed. There's so much psychological research that has been done that shows that people who are well-dressed are perceived as more trustworthy, smarter even. It is just such a cheat code that I can tell you your clients will certainly appreciate it as well. Leave a comment if you want to see how I also onboard web design clients, because that process is a whole lot more involved. Also, if you're new here, hello, my name is Bailey Canning. I'm an independent marketing strategist based in Denver, Colorado. And as part of the branding, web design, and digital marketing work I do for clients, I am putting out at least one video per week on YouTube, going to give you a bit more of a behind the scenes type of a look into the work I'm doing going forward. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely subscribe to my channel so you never miss any of these videos. And also feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, because I often post short form content there and might be a good way for us to have a conversation. Let's jump into the screen share so that you can see how I onboard and kick off new marketing accounts. All right, so now you're looking at the proposal copy, the scope of work section. Obviously, I can't give away client details here. I'm selectively showing you things here. But the way I structure these proposals, and this will make sense in a second, because these are all the areas that are addressed in the keynote presentation that we'll be looking at in a second here. The way I structure these proposals is to break out the different deliverables within the different categories here. So you can see here are the SEO deliverables we're working on for this client. Here are the different paid traffic deliverables. So they're doing Google ads, Meta ads, LinkedIn ads, which is really great to see. Here are the content marketing deliverables. So we're gonna be making YouTube videos. We're gonna be making short form videos. I'm actually like video consulting on this. So I guess my YouTube videos are building me some credibility in that department. And then also, I made a video before on my website management plan. I will link that above here. Basically, that is for the conclusion of a website build. I can manage and maintain my client's website on their behalf for basic content updates. Now, these marketing retainers I do, they're generally at least $1,500 minimum on average. So as a goodwill, but also just to ensure that the website is going to continue functioning as a solid marketing tool, I always throw in the website management. You'll see I do a monthly video report at the end of each month, just going over the deliverables for that month that were done. And then I also will review the client's analytics to give them insights and analysis into the effectiveness of our marketing work together. And then also we have bi-monthly status meetings. And then finally here, you'll see some added value items I threw in here just because this was something the client requested at the conclusion of a website build. It was all pretty straightforward stuff, so I just decided to include it in the marketing retainer. It's something we did in my first job at a big New York City advertising agency, was to throw in added value items, so that is where I've gotten that practice from. Let's get on to the presentation here. So this is roughly a template that I customized every single client. Number one, you'll note that I usually like to use blues in a lot of my branding, but here, as you'll see here, and this is also for a recent kickoff presentation I put together for another marketing client of mine, I believe that was last week, where you'll see here it's just black, and that's because the client's main brand is black. So whenever I make these presentations, which I really don't like to do quite honestly, because I feel like I'm talking to the client and like dictating things, whereas I feel like they should be a conversation. So I always preface any presentation I give with like, hey, this is just like a starting point for conversation. As you'll see here, it's just black because that's the client's branding in this case. But you'll see here that the fonts and everything that's used, I basically just take from the client, because as Ron Segal over at Flux Academy, in one of his courses, he was saying that clients don't care about your branding, they care about their branding. So I've always taken that to heart, and I always will mimic their branding here. And then also, I find from my experience, it just makes you feel like more a part of their team. And that way it's just easier to build trust and you feel like you're on the same page more. So you'll see here in the agenda, and I did send this over to my client beforehand. Sending the agenda ahead of time is something I've recently started implementing, but it's just another way to show that you are organized, that you're not just flying by the seat of your pants, that you actually are taking a very meticulous and well thought out approach to how you are structuring your engagements with clients. Here's basically everything that we're working on, as you can see here. And so that's how I built out the agenda. I also included the slide on this digital marketer customer value journey framework. So basically this shows my clients what their prospective clients are going to be going through as they navigate the buying and research process before, in this case, hiring an architecture firm. So I thought this was important to conclude. I was on the fence, but the client actually did really appreciate it. So that was good. So this way the client's able to see the other side of the equation, and they understand how all of our marketing activities are going to affect their prospective clients' research process. And then based on this, how we're going to position all of our content and our advertising efforts at meeting people at the right time, and then eventually getting them to either book a consultation or subscribe to a newsletter or a gated piece of content so that they can enter into one of our email marketing funnels. I can't share everything here, but this is a pretty generic one. As you can see here, I basically just run the client through exactly how we're going to be implementing our tactics and strategies on a specific channel. So in this case, the Meta and LinkedIn retargeting ads. I just explain how it's going to work. Then I give some extra information on each of these platforms as well. All right, now something this specific client requested, which I'm now going to begin putting in all my slides for marketing kickoffs calls going forward, is objectives and KPIs. So generally this is something I always have in the back of my head, but it's not agreed upon and discussed before with the client. But like I said, now I'm going to be doing it because it was a very productive session. The way I approached it in this specific example is that for every marketing channel, we set a primary objective and then a primary KPI in terms of how we're going to measure our results to achieve that objective, so we can see looking back if we've been successful or not. And then also I set secondary objectives and secondary KPIs, because while many of these marketing channels may have a primary goal, there's also many secondary benefits that we can achieve as well by pursuing these marketing strategies. So it's important to have that listed. To give you an example in terms of SEO, our primary objective of course is to increase organic traffic to the website, and the way we're going to be able to measure this of course is with organic traffic growth, so comparing quarter versus quarter. At the end of this year, Q4, did we have a better traffic performance than in Q3? And then I also list out some secondary objectives as well, so improving local SEO in key markets that we're looking to target. We're going to be optimizing blog content as well. We're going to be trying to increase the amount of first page keywords, and then you can see a bunch of secondary KPIs in terms of how we will measure this. Lastly, I talk about account management here, and then I break it down with questions and next steps, and then that is basically the meeting. So usually it's between 60 to 90 minutes, nothing too crazy. And after this, we're basically fully aligned on what the campaign looks like, and I am ready to begin executing all the specific work. And then any work the client needs to do in terms of reviewing things or providing information, they have their marching orders as well. So that is how I onboard my marketing clients. It's basically a very streamlined process. So as you can see, all the deliverables get added to Basecamp, the project management software, and then I also put together that keynote presentation, just running the client through all the key areas of the marketing campaign, so that way they totally understand what's going on and they feel involved. And basically after this meeting, we are on the same page, so we continue to move forward. And then I move forward with executing all the different marketing deliverables we have on hand. But yeah, very important in my experience doing this for over 3 years to involve the client from the start. I clearly explain to them everything you're going to be doing, and then getting them to buy in on everything you're doing. Obviously at this point though, I've already worked with them on the website project, so it's really not a whole lot of selling going on. It's more just doing your due diligence and doing a good job, quite frankly. So hopefully you found that interesting. Definitely subscribe to my channel if you're interested in this kind of behind the scenes work of all of my different client work as a marketing strategist, because quite honestly, I believe that is the direction the channel is going to be going in, because the talking head style videos, they can be informative. Quite honestly, they're just not very creative, but I think these behind the scene videos are just much more interesting, quite frankly. So without further ado, thank you again for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Take it easy. Bye.